Everyone knows how to cook pasta. Cook your noodles, heat up some sauce, mix it all up, done. An easy plate of pasta. But why is restaurant pasta so much better? Like, what exactly are professional chefs doing that you're not? Well, it's not expensive ingredients, it's not fancy equipment, and it's not even presentation. No, because the thing that makes the biggest difference is technique. And no, you do not have to make your own pasta or do anything complicated. Everything that I'm going to show you today is essentially free and won't make the cooking process take any more time than it normally would. In fact, these methods might even save you a little bit of time. So today, I'm going to show you how to take store-bought ingredients and make any pasta recipe restaurant quality with 8 easy to implement techniques, starting at the grocery store. If you've ever cooked pasta before, you've probably seen this brand, Barilla. I mean, it's cheap, you can find it anywhere, it's fine. But it has one major flaw. See, pasta is usually made by being extruded out of what's called a dye. And most commonly, commercial dyes are made of Teflon. Teflon is known to be an extremely non-stick material, so the pasta that comes out of it is usually very smooth and shiny. Now, if you move just a little bit down the aisle, you're usually gonna find the fancier pastas. Now I say fancier, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much more expensive. Now the main difference with these fancier pastas is that instead of Teflon dyes, they're usually made with the traditional bronze dyes. Now bronze is a lot less non-stick, which means that the pasta that comes out of it is going to be a lot more rough. So who cares if your pasta is a little more rough? Well, rougher pasta releases a little bit more starch into the pasta water and actually has a little bit better of a texture. And if you don't believe me, I actually did a side-by-side test where I compared Teflon dye pasta and bronze dye pasta. Instantly I know this is the rough one. This is the bronze dye. It's honestly not because the pasta itself feels rough. How the sauce adheres to the pasta makes a huge difference. So this is the bronze dye pasta with just some butter on it. And you can see that the butter is like really nicely coating the noodle. And this is the Teflon dye pasta. It's kind of hard to tell, but the pasta looks more oily instead of like saucy, if that makes sense. Now, while we're at the grocery store, you might be wondering about sauce. And while there is going to be a little bit of difference between brands, I found that it doesn't actually matter that much. So if there's one thing that I think you should splurge a little bit more on, I think it's your pasta. Now that you have your ingredients, the first thing you want to do is boil your water. And the most common mistake that I see home cooks make is boiling their pasta with too much water. That's right. You can actually use too much water. But it's not what you're thinking, because it actually has nothing to do with the pasta. It actually has everything to do with the water itself. When we cook pasta, the starch in the noodles actually leaches into the water. This is why the water gets a little bit cloudy. This is what it looks like when you use a pot that's full of water. The water's a little bit cloudy, there's a little bit of starch in there. But when you use just enough water to cover the pasta, it is way cloudier because it is more concentrated in starch. We're gonna cover this later in technique number 6, but having a concentrated starchy pasta water is non-negotiable if you wanna make a really good sauce. And as an added benefit for those of you who are just as impatient as me, less water means less time to boil. And pro tip, if you add your lid, it'll boil even faster. You're welcome. If your pasta dish has any kind of protein, like beef or chicken or even meatballs, that is the first thing you want to cook. Cooking your protein is usually the step that takes the longest, but that's not why we're doing it first. It's because of this. All the beautiful, brown, delicious flavor that's left in the pan after you're done cooking. A lot of home cooks make the mistake of throwing all of this flavor down the drain. So we're gonna keep the same pan and start by sauteing any onion or garlic. And then you're gonna pour your sauce and scrape everything down to incorporate it. In the culinary world, this is called deglazing. At the grocery store, I said there wasn't gonna be that much of a difference between sauce brands, and that's because no matter which brand you pick, you're gonna have to season. Now, it doesn't actually take a lot for a store-bought pasta sauce to go from okay to really good. So I'm gonna give you my very basic 4-step framework for seasoning any pasta sauce, whether it's tomato or cream-based. Now, the first step sounds obvious, but a lot of people don't do it. Taste your sauce. Literally just taste it to see where your starting point is and see if there's any flavors that stand out. Step 2 is salt. Now you might assume that salt just makes things salty, which it does, but more importantly, it actually just amplifies whatever flavors already exist. So what you should notice is that the flavors you tasted before are a little bit more amplified now. Step 2 is sugar. Most people would not think to add sugar because they don't want their pasta to taste sweet, but that's not the purpose of sugar here. Sugar directly counters acid, like the sourness that comes from tomatoes. So even after just a little bit of sugar, the whole flavor tastes a lot more balanced. And last but not least, acid. Now I know we just added sugar to counteract the acid, but sometimes in the seasoning process, you lose a little bit of that acidity that you actually want in your dish. So just a little bit of lemon or even vinegar will go a long way here. And once you have a balanced sauce as your base, that's when you can go ahead and add spices and herbs like cracked pepper or oregano. Woo! Let's go! Now the easiest way to ruin your pasta texture is blindly following the package directions. Instead of ignoring them completely, I actually just set a timer for 1 minute before what the package suggests, and then every 30 seconds after that, I'm tasting the noodles to see what the texture is like. If you don't know what al dente tastes like, the pasta isn't really hard or crunchy anymore, but there's still a good bite to it. In fact, what you actually want is to undercook your pasta just a little bit, because in the next step, we're gonna skip the strainer entirely and go straight from our pot of boiling water and into our sauce. Right now, your pasta is covered in starchy water, and like I mentioned earlier, that is what you need to bring everything together. Obviously, this step requires that you finish your sauce beforehand, but if you're still tweaking your sauce by the time your noodles are done, the next best thing is to reserve some pasta water on the side, probably a little bit more than you think you need, and then go ahead and strain it. But under no circumstances should you ever rinse it. You want to keep all those starches on the pasta. You should treat this stuff like liquid gold. Now, as you're finishing your sauce, you're gonna wanna turn your heat up because the physical act of bubbling literally emulsifies the sauce. Because our heat is high, you're gonna wanna constantly stir your pasta so it doesn't burn, and then keep adding pasta water to adjust the thickness of your sauce. And if this step makes you feel really rushed, don't worry about it. It's not gonna make or break your pasta. Just turn the heat down and take your time. And for the very last step, most people assume that all the garnishes and toppings are just for visual presentation. And while it does add to the overall experience, there's actually a way more important reason to do this. And that's because the majority of our perception of flavor is actually determined by aromas and smells, not just taste alone. And all the ingredients that get added at the end, like a splash of olive oil or a freshly cracked pepper, those actually enhance the perception of flavor. So it's definitely not a step you want to skip, because that's free flavor, baby. So there you have 8 easy to implement techniques that don't require any fancy ingredients or extra equipment, and you end up with pasta so good, you won't even want to eat at the restaurants. Oh my god, it's so good.